No one in Hollywood could believe their eyes when they saw Sal Mineo's name splashed across the front page of the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, not in the entertainment section, but in the crime column. The star who had been nominated for 2 Oscars, the young actor who once stood beside James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, was found dead in a parking lot in West Hollywood. But his death was far from a simple murder. From the behind-the-scenes photo on Rebel that captured the strange gaze between Moe and Dean, to the haunting portrait inside Harold Stevenson's studio, where Moe dared to pose nude as the new Adam, and finally to the last photo taken hours before his fatal night on Hollow Drive, every single image became a crucial piece of evidence in the mystery surrounding his death. And by the time you reach the end of this video, you'll understand why for nearly half a century, no police officer has ever dared to reopen the case of Sal Mineo. In the 1940s, the Bronx, New York, wasn't glamorous like in the movies. It was a cramped, noisy neighborhood of old tenements where car exhaust mixed with the smell of freshly baked Italian bread. On the corner of East 22nd Street, in a small second-floor apartment, lived a boy named Salvatore Moe Jr., a second-generation Italian-American. His father, Salvatore Sr., ran a modest cafe called Mino's Cafe, serving mostly workers and cab drivers. His mother, Josephine, worked at a nearby grocery store. Locals later said she always tucked away small change in a tin box to save for her son's acting lessons. From a young age, S was different. While other Bronx kids played stickball in the streets, he preferred standing in front of the mirror, mimicking voices of actors he heard on NBC radio or reciting lines from Casablanca in a distinct mix of Italian and New York accent. A neighbor later told the Daily News that boy had a strange look in his eyes, soft but sad, like he was seeing a world beyond ours. In 1948, at just 9 years old, S joined a children's acting class at the Dramatic Workshop in Manhattan, the same school that trained Marlon Brando and Tony Curtis. Instructor Cornelia Otis Skinner wrote in her memoir, that boy absorbed dialogue like breathing. He didn't act, he lived in the part. His intensity caught the attention of stage director Joshua Logan during a casting session. A year later, S was cast as Prince Chulalongkorn in the Broadway musical The King and I alongside Yul Brynner and Gertrude Lawrence. He was just 11, the youngest in the cast, but he performed with a depth that seemed to transcend his age. Once Brynner reportedly lost his temper backstage, complaining that the kid was stealing the spotlight from the adults. Lawrence, too, told Variety that Moe was too raw, too direct to control. But it was exactly that raw honesty that audiences remembered. In the years that followed, S appeared on television shows like The Milton Berle Show and Studio One, quickly becoming a familiar teen face. Yet behind the charm were whispers of tension. It was rumored that Yul Brynner grew resentful when Moe was offered a television role before him. Gossip columnist Luella Parsons even wrote that Brynner swore he would never share a stage or screen with Moe again. By 1954, when The King and I closed, a representative from Warner Brothers visited the backstage and told Josephine, "Your boy has the kind of eyes a camera will fall in love with." Soon after, they flew S to Los Angeles to audition for a new film titled Rebel Without a Cause. Josephine could never have guessed that decision would not only change her son's life forever, but also place him at the center of one of the most controversial films in Hollywood history. In 1955, Sal Mineo stepped onto the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank, California, where director Nicholas Ray was preparing his most ambitious project. Yet a story about 3 lost teenagers in post-war America. Jim Stark, James Dean, Judy, Natalie Wood, and Plato Sal Mineo. During a rehearsal at an abandoned mansion in Griffith Park, Ray sat quietly watching and whispered to cinematographer Ernest Howard, "Keep the camera rolling. I want to see the boy's eyes when he looks at Dean." That moment became legendary. Plato's gaze toward Jim tender, yet aching like a boy searching for shelter. Critic Richard Schickel later wrote in Life magazine, "It was one of those rare moments when American cinema touched the raw truth of loneliness and the hunger to belong." But behind the lens, nothing was calm. James Dean, at 24, was already the icon dubbed Hollywood's rebel. Natalie Wood, just 16, was entangled in a troubling affair with the much older Nicholas Ray. On-screen, Dean and Wood played lovers. Off-screen, Ray was rumored to drive her to his suite at the Chateau Marmont for private rehearsals. S, only 17, found himself caught between two worlds, adoring Dean like an older brother while being drawn into the chaos of Hollywood's adult games. Gossip columnist Hedda Hopper wrote that Dean was fond of Mo, often taking him for drives around Los Angeles in his silver Porsche Spyder. Crew members confirmed their closeness, though no one knew what they talked about. Dean was known for his silence on set, yet he always made time to speak with S after filming. When Rebel Without a Cause premiered in October 1955, audiences were stunned. Mino's Plato was the emotional core of the film, a fragile, yearning soul who longed to be loved. But what truly shocked the public was the subtext. Time magazine hinted, "Here is a boy whose affection for his friend carries a depth of feeling rare on the American screen." In that conservative era, even such a sentence was scandalous. Surprisingly, audiences didn't turn away. They empathized. Sal Mineo earned an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor at 17, one of the youngest in history. But fame came with its curse. Tabloids like Confidential and Modern Screen ran stories titled, "The Bronx Boy, Too Close to James Dean and a Strange Friendship. Behind the Scenes of Rebel." When James Dean died in a car crash in September 1955, just weeks after filming ended, S was devastated. He skipped the premiere, sending only flowers to Dean's home. Los Angeles Examiner ran the headline, "Dean's Youngest Friend Vanishes from Hollywood." In a rare 1956 interview with KTLA, S quietly said, "He was the first person who made me believe I could be myself." That line, reprinted nationwide, only deepened public fascination. But the glow that followed Rebel Without a Cause quickly turned into pressure. Mo suddenly became a symbol of lost youth. Yet, the studios didn't know where to place him. Too fragile to be a hero. Too intense to play the nice boy. In the years that followed, he began to take a different path, stepping into another world, one where he didn't need dialogue, only a microphone and the screams of thousands of fans, the pop music stage. By late 1956, Hollywood had already begun to forget Rebel Without a Cause. James Dean was gone. Natalie Wood had become an A-list star, and Sal Mineo, the Bronx Boy, once nominated for an Oscar, was trapped in a fading kind of fame. Studios didn't know what to do with him. Too unconventional for leading man roles, yet too famous to simply disappear. During those months of unemployment, S lived in a small Laurel Canyon apartment, its walls covered with photos of old friends. On his desk sat a picture of Dean beside an old RCA radio. That very radio led him into a new world. One night, while listening to American Bandstand play an Elvis Presley song, S thought to himself, "If they don't want me in movies, I'll start singing." The thought seemed impulsive. Yet only weeks later, RCA Victor actually reached out inviting him to record. They knew the public still remembered the boyish Plato, and they wanted to turn that image into a pop idol. In early 1957, the single "Start Movement in My Direction" was released. Within just 2 weeks, it soared to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and numbered 16 in the UK, selling over 1 million copies, a number that even caught Elvis's attention. The press called it the miracle from the Bronx, and the Ed Sullivan Show invited Mo to perform live before millions of television viewers. The record's cover featuring his bright smile and slick back hair appeared everywhere in record shops, dorm rooms, even inside high school girls' lockers. 17 magazine dubbed him America's Prince of Smiles, while Modern Screen ran the headline, "From Plato's Shadows to the Spotlight of a National Idol." But behind those lights, S felt empty. He was forced to keep playing the good boy image that the record label demanded. When a photoplay reporter asked if he was dating anyone, the label quickly arranged for him to appear with young actress Jill Howarth at a stage party. Photos of the two holding hands at the Beverly Hills Hotel flooded the press, but friends later told The Hollywood Reporter that they had met only 3 times and had barely spoken in private. Behind the stage curtains, Mo began to feel like a commodity. He told a Variety journalist that he had to sign a grueling performance contract covering New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Las Vegas, and was forbidden from changing his hairstyle or speaking freely in interviews. Around that time, rumors leaked that Elvis Presley had invited him to perform together. According to the Los Angeles Examiner, RCA executives blocked the offer, saying they're too similar. There's no need for that kind of competition. Though his music career brought him thousands of dollars a week, it also caused Hollywood to turn its back on him. Directors no longer trusted the acting skills of a teen pop idol. Some former co-stars mocked him openly. On Peter Potter's radio show, Natalie Wood once joked Sal's too busy signing records to make movies anymore. Behind the smiling album covers were long, lonely nights. Friends said he often drove his Ford Thunderbird down Sunset Boulevard, listening to music and Tay,